And now, here's another episode of On Campus with your host, Coach Mark.
Hey there, it's Coach Mark on campus. Can you guess where I am? Of course, I'm at Penn State University here in beautiful Central Pennsylvania, State College, Pennsylvania. I just finished up an amazing podcast with Coach Gambino. He's in his first year here at Penn State, and we talked a lot about how he's going to build this program to a national title. But most important, I want you to hear what he has to say about development, about recruiting, about what matters, what doesn't matter, the transfer portal, NIL money, all of it covered in this podcast. Let's get to it. Okay, so we're talking Penn State baseball here, and you have the aspirations to build this program to the top level, get to Omaha, be a contender, win the Big Ten. Obviously, you're starting, from, I don't want to say from scratch, but you're at the very beginning of that journey. How do you feel like, what is your strategy to do that?
Well, number one, the number one role of any company, organization, and get the right people on the bus, right? So, I'm lucky with the investment made by the department, the people that we were able to add to the staff, the guys that I get to be around every day, with Scotty Loiza, Nick Puccio, Will Giles, keeping Jake Stone around, Ed Ryan Wheeler, Mason Millard, who's a State College kid and former player here. Like, to be around this group is unbelievable. So from a strategy standpoint, get the right people on the bus and then try to get out of their way.
So you feel like you have the dream team kind of put together already?
I love the group.
Yeah.
Continue to build out the roster. The thing about Penn State, the brand the brand nationally is second to none, and the brand in the state is one of the things I've been blown away with. You should know how fanatical people are about Penn State from the outside, and then when you get here, you realize it's even more than than you thought.
Yeah. The pride in Pennsylvania and this culture around here is strong as it gets.
It's awesome. Mm-hmm. And it's something that's really important to me, and we and the staff talk about all the time. Like, I don't think we realized fully how much people in the state look in the program. This athletic department represents the state, and it's something we really want to make. We want to make our students, our alumni, and the people that root for Penn State, we want to make them proud. It's really, really something that we care about and that we want. And yes, it's about winning,
of course,
but I think it's more. We want to be a program that people take pride in, not just with the winning, but how we go about our business and the type of kids they are and how we act on the field and off the field, and everything. That's really, 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 really important to us. So you get the right people on the bus. You do a great job on our state recruiting. It's a great state for baseball. We've got a chance to, some of them we already knew, some of them we met along the way, but there are great high school baseball coaches and great travel baseball coaches in this state. And people love baseball and care about baseball, and it's a great baseball tradition in this state. Yeah. So you start with your recruiting there, number one, and then you work out, and you sort of, Penn State's a brand that can recruit nationally. We want to be a little bit more focused and have some areas that we can be really, really good in.
One of the things in an article I read about you and your recruiting is that I thought was interesting is you made the comment. Let me see if I can read it exactly. It said, "I want kids who want to play in the big league."
Yeah.
So I found that interesting from a college coach standpoint, because I've been around a lot of college coaches that they don't really. I don't want to say they don't care about that. That's not their focus. Like they don't talk about that. Both my sons played Division I baseball, so I know a little bit about that. Whereas you're saying Penn State for these kids is the conduit to that, and you want to be a part of that.
Absolutely, and it's something that if you look at coming from Boston College, we had 7 major league debuts in the last 6 years coming out of BC, and I think we probably have 3 more of those guys on the horizon. Within the next,
and they were guys you recruited?
Year to 2, yeah. We were part of recruiting and developing all those guys, and then we were taking pride in that at BC. And they come down here, and I think we can do it here at the same or higher level, with the resources and the facilities and the staffing that we have. Yeah. So there's 2 things that I want people to look at. One, I want them to look at Penn State as that if you come here, it will give you a chance to leave here as a millionaire, to get to the big leagues, to make a lot of money, to win World Series, all those things. And part of why I say that too is that I want kids that are that serious about baseball. The two things we talk about, right? Like, if you don't want to play in the big leagues, if you're not that driven, if that's not what you want, I don't want you here.
Right.
At the same time, if being part of something bigger than yourself, if winning, if those things are not important, if being a great teammate, if that's not important to you, then I don't want you here either.
Right. So you have to get kids, though, that have a bit of a pioneering spirit, because the kids you're talking about, they probably have opportunities to play in the ACC or the SEC, or maybe get drafted out of high school and you want them here. But that's a different feel for a kid that's going to LSU, that's already a big time program, expecting to get to Omaha every year, whatever, versus the same talented kid here says, no, I want to help Penn State get there. That's a different mentality.
It's a different mentality, and it's something that, the kids we're talking to, I'm telling them, there are kids that have to believe in something before they see it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And be part of it. And there's kids that want to be in the picture of the dog pile, that everybody can say that thing changed everything. Yeah. That dog pile changed everything.
Right.
Because that dog pile is coming here. Yeah. It's just, who are the faces going to be in that dog pile, and what is that going to look like? What is it going to look like, in that, the first draft coming up, when we have like 7 guys in the first 6 rounds, just, when something like that happens, and people are like, that was the class.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what thing that I, and we look back at some of the programs, like, people don't remember this, but Virginia was a place that you could never win. That's what people said. I mean, there was real talk, and Brian O'Connor is really close friend of mine, and somebody that I have a ton of respect for, both personally and professionally. But when he took that job, Virginia baseball they were really talking about dropping baseball. It was a place you could never win. And people don't know that. And five College World Series and a national championship later, and I don't know how many first round draft picks, but the group that went there, those first kids that they recruited, they had to say, we believe in that. And I think, I'm probably not half the coach and Brian O'Connor is, but Penn State, the brand and the program that we can be here, we can be that, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know Vanderbilt's another good example.
It's a great
Everybody
example.
hears UVA and Vanderbilt. They're at the top of the food chain, and they must have always been there. They had the right leader come in and have the right vision, build it up. Now they're a household name. And that is the journey that you're on right now here at Penn State. Hey, it's Coach Mark here. Sorry to interrupt the episode. We're going to get right back to it. But I wanted to remind you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It helps us immensely. We want to keep providing great content with these college coaches who are so gracious with their time to provide information for you, whether you're a coach, a player, or a parent. This is really good information that these guys are providing. We want to keep doing it. So to help us, all you have to do is hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications button. That way, when we post something new, you'll get notified. Okay? I thank you in advance. Now, let's get back to the show.
We believe we can do that.
Absolutely. You have every reason to believe it. You have the background and you have the resources, the facility. Like you said, just get the right people on the bus and turn this thing into one of those programs. I personally think you will do it. So,
well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the thing that I know, and we say this all the time, I actually said it to some of the media post game yesterday, right? Like, development is never linear. Right. Whether you're talking about your own personal development, player development, program development, right? We know that the only things I can tell you, I know we're going to get there.
Yeah.
I know it's not going to happen as fast as I would like. Patience. I know it's a virtue. I'm not very good at it. I'm trying to teach my kids, and it's hard to teach your kids something that you're not very good at. Right. But, and it's not going to be linear. It's, when we zoom out, it will go up, but when you zoom in, there's going to be, and it's true in each season. It's true in as the program goes. But I do fully believe we're going to get there, and it's just a matter of like sort of how and when and what are the steps along the way, and with who, and what mistakes do I make along the way, and how do we adjust and correct those mistakes, because we're going to.
But you're right, though. In your article, you said that the thrill is in the chase. I think, that's a certain mentality, but I can relate to that. I've been self-employed for a long time, and it's not linear. It's all kinds of ups and downs, setbacks. But as long as you keep your eye on the goal and you don't lose your focus, you get there. So you will.
I remember, so Pete Frates was our director of baseball operations at Boston College. He's, and his family, and we lost him to ALS, and he was somebody that literally changed the world. He's one of the co-creators of the Ice Bucket Challenge. A main reason that ALS is now a household name is because of Pete. And they traveled with us until he got to the point that he couldn't. He traveled with us all the time, and John and Nancy, his parents, would travel with us a lot. And I remember one time, and John was always asking me, he'd always check and say, how you doing? How's the team? And I would always say, we're getting there. And at one point he said to me, you always say that. He's like, you always say we're getting there. Is there ever going to be a time, like, are you there? Like, where are we go? Yeah. And I said, that's the fun part. We're always getting there. Like, doesn't matter. Because here's the thing. When we go to Omaha here, right, on the plane ride home, we're talking about our next trip to Omaha.
Exactly. There is no destination. You're passing through Omaha to get to something else. That's just how successful people think. We talked about the wrestlers. You know what Cale Sanderson said the other day? Yeah, thanks. We won a national championship. Great. We'll be in the wrestling room Monday morning. So
it's funny. Pat Kraft, our athletic director, said that to me. It blew him away last year after the national championship. Like, they won the national championship, they're celebrating. He's like, this is unbelievable. Yeah. And wakes up the next morning and the guys are all working out, like getting after. And he's like, it's the day after. But they're talking about the next national championship. They're talking about the Olympics. They're talking about it's, so, it's, I hope I'm getting to that point. I can promise you this. I can promise you we will not win 12 out of 13 national championships like they just did. Nobody will ever do that in any sport.
That's a sport
ever,
anomaly.
Anywhere. Yeah. But that guy,
Yeah.
And it's funny too. I'm really lucky in my career. I was around Jerry York at Boston College, who was, arguably the best hockey coach, college hockey coach anyway. I would say the best hockey coach ever in the history of our country. And you see a lot of similarities in their messaging, and not only messaging in a BS political way.
I want to finish up with a couple of what I call rapid fire, just points for parents and players that they can listen to. So let's just go through this quickly. First of all, if you were to give advice to a young player, concise advice, if you could, one or two main points for a kid that wants to be a great player, play at Penn State, play college baseball, play in the big leagues, what advice could you give that kid?
Be obsessed with getting better. Wherever you are, just worry about getting better now. Like, there's never a there, right? You just be obsessed with getting better. And the thing I talk to our team and the guys about is worry about who you're going to be, not what you're going to do. The goals, you have your goals. That's what drives you.
Yeah.
Right. But you can't talk about getting to the big leagues if you're not going to be disciplined each day, if you're not, right? So who are you going to be along the way? Are you going to be a guy that works really hard? Are you going to be a guy that gets to work? And so can be obsessed with getting better, worry about who you're going to be, and know and understand it. How you respond to your setbacks and your failures, which will be there, will be the difference.
Fantastic. Good advice. How about parents? What advice could you give parents? Now you're the parent of two young kids, and your son, you have a son and a daughter. So, you can speak from a parental standpoint, your parental style. People have different styles, but what would you say? How would you go about the journey of youth sports for a parent?
I think kids, from one of my experiences, from one thing that I've learned is kids get tied up. They tie their self-worth and think, whether we mean it to or not, that parents' love is contingent upon success on the field. Mm-hmm. Whether we mean it or not, it happens. A quick story that I realized for parents, I think they need to know and understand. The kids need to know and understand that I'm here. I support you. We have our values as a family. We have our standards as a family, whatever we believe in, right? But I love you either way, and I know that you're gonna. But I see it all the time, and they don't verbalize it, but they really feel like nobody likes me if I don't get hate or get an out, and that's just not how it works. It's hard for them to reach their potential that way.
And that's, to your point, that's coming many times from the parent.
Whether we mean it or not, right? Like, I think that we have to be pretty clear about that. And, I have an 8 and a 7-year-old. And, when my son was 5, we almost lost him, like really close. We probably should have lost him. We're extremely lucky that we didn't lose him. And the perspective that gives you after that with your kid, I mean, like, I don't really care if he plays baseball.
How big of a deal is a batting average after something like that?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like if my daughter is getting into field hockey and gymnastics and she likes to dance, like, I want them to be great kids. I want them to have great values. I want them to treat people their way, And here's the weird thing. I think sometimes we get caught up in this. We actually don't even know if parents that are obsessed with their kids getting the big leagues. We don't even know if that's the best thing for them. Like, so maybe that would have been a bad thing, your kid getting the big leagues. Maybe maybe a better thing would not have been getting the big. We don't know. We
also don't know if that's even what they want.
And that's even what they want. So I just, just help them learn values, help them know you care about them. And, I read an article a couple of years back that if they asked all these little leaguers, and I can't remember where they asked them, but they asked like 500 little leaguers, if you only had 2 tickets to your game, who would you give your tickets to? And like the overwhelming answer was grandma and grandpa.
Wow. Because they have a different feel about them.
Yeah, because grandma and grandpa say, great job, I love you.
Yeah, right. Whereas mom and dad are like, how'd you strike out? Yeah.
And we all do it. When my son was 3, one of my awesome, we had my son in a little Tykes gymnastics or whatever when he was 3, whatever it was called. They were just running around playing all these different sports. It was it was a Monday morning thing in the spring. And I used to bring it. I would come off the road and take my son and daughter there. I think it was 9 to 10, whatever it was. And my daughter would come, she was 2. She and I would play inside. And that was our Monday morning routine. Mm-hmm. And I remember they were doing an obstacle course one day. Maybe he was a little bit old. Maybe he was 4. And I was watching him. I'm like, oh man, he's doing a really good job on this obstacle course. And then it dawned on me, I've never seen 4-year-olds go over any obstacle course, much less this one. Mm-hmm. I'm not even watching the other kids. So why would I think he's good at this when I have no clue what it's supposed to look like? I don't know what because he could have been the worst in the class. Yeah. And I wouldn't have realized it because I was only watching one kid go around. Yeah. Right.
Kind of like this,
we get right. And and I also know one thing I know, I am very confident in my ability to evaluate. When I talk to scouts about kids on my team, I always tell them, I'm not as good at evaluating my own players. Because I remember the struggle he went through and what he did to get through here and how it affects my value. I remember the big hit he got for us. I remember when he was in high school and he broke up with his girlfriend and we talked about it. Like, it's all part of my evaluation.
Now multiply that by 100 as a parent.
Now multiply it by 100.
Because some parents are thinking they're evaluating their son. They have no earthly idea how biased they really are.
Yeah, right? And it's okay that you are. It's right? It's okay that you are. And when you have the parents, you talk to them, they're like, I don't know, man. Wherever he fits is fine.